Well, hey guys, I was worried there for a second it was going to do exactly the same thing that happened the first time. First time I attempted to go live. Now we're live. I'm hoping that it stays this way. I would hate to have to start all over again. But time I tried. Hey. Hey, Maroney. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay, what's going on? Oh no, no! Being a Why are you two being a bitch? Why are you two bitching on me? YouTube won't work. I've had to. This when I was going live too. Had to do this to me. YouTube is not working on my phone right now, and I don't know why, but I seriously. Yeah, YouTube isn't responding. Yeah, genius, I get it. Yeah, 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 you fucking idiot. I can tell the YouTube isn't responding. Hey, Maroney. Hey, Maroney. Everything is okay. I just, for some reason, and I don't know why, my live stream like froze up. YouTube wouldn't respond. So I had to close out of live YouTube. Even when I tried to get back in the first time, it still wouldn't work. So hopefully things have slowed down. Hopefully things are back to where they should be. And I hate to have to scream and kick around and stuff, but just sometimes when something like this is happening and I just don't know what to do, sometimes I just want to scream and kick and just and whine about it because it's the only thing I know how to do, I guess. But let's get on with the show. I do not want to waste any more time with this. We will start with Monday Night Raw. I hope everybody is having a great Saturday, having a great weekend so far. But yes, we will start. Hey, what is it, Maroney? Hope it's something good. And start with Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw started out with Jey Uso taking on Grayson Waller one-on-one. I'm glad one of the only thing I'm not too much of a fan of when it comes to this Jey Uso Gunther feud is that Gunther has consistently gotten the drop on Jey Uso and has been beating Jey Uso senselessly But then also some might say that that's the whole point of the storyline, and that this story is basically just a copy and paste of what they did previous year with Gunther and Sami Zayn. Cool. Again, I'm betting you're happy about that. I'm betting you're excited about that. But some might say that's the whole point of this story is that Gunther just does not see Jay on his level. Some will tell you that it is an exact copy and paste of what they did last year with Sami and Gunther, which it's not that hard to see how that could be. How the case could be made that is what it is. It's just a copy and paste of what they did last year with Sami and Gunther, but it works because Gunther is just trying to prove that he is the better wrestler and that Jey Uso does not deserve this opportunity. And that's basically Gunther's character throughout every single one of his stories, is that he doesn't believe that there's anybody on his level and that there's nobody. I mean, if he had his way, he wouldn't even be defending his title week in and week out. He'd just be champion, enjoying every bit of it. But hey, it is what it is. Yeah, it is awesome. But hey, this match was with Grayson Waller of 8-Town Down Under. Austin Theory obviously was with Grayson. He was at ringside. He was at ringside helping him. So the coaching match went about 10 minutes. Jey Uso, obviously, he won the match. After the match, Austin Theory came into the ring to sneak attack him. Didn't exactly work because Jey Uso easily dispatched of both members of 8-Town Down Under. Then, out of nowhere, Gunther comes in, locks in the sleeper hold. Again, just trying to prove that Jey doesn't deserve this match with him at WrestleMania, and that Jey Uso is nothing more than a mid-card act at best. Obviously, since I am feeling that this is an exact copy and paste of Sami versus Gunther from last year, I think it's pretty obvious what they're going to do, and that they are obviously going to have Jey Uso win. Because there's no way that you are going to have Jey Uso lose to Gunther now 3 times. This is now the 3rd match they've had together. The first one was for the Intercontinental title, when Gunther was still Intercontinental champion. That was when Jey was having his feud with Jimmy. But then obviously a Saturday night's main event before Royal Rumble, that happened, and so hey, and now we're here. It is what it is. Should be a good match. It's not going to main event. I'm sorry for those who maybe want Jey to main event the show, but I think we are building to another match main eventing the show that isn't even a title match, but it's a match that would definitely warrant the main event slot. Just because of the 3 men that are in it and the disdain that all 3 of them probably have for each other, especially 2 of the 3. Well, all 3 of them have disdain for at least one person in the match, and that person being, I'll get to it later. After this match and after the beatdown segment, and after post-match beatdown by Gunther, we get a video package for Seth Rollins and CM Punk's steel cage match in the main event. I have now seen it. I have now seen the match, and it is a great match, minus 2 moments where the production team decided to black out the screen simply because both men decided at one point that they were going to stick their middle finger up in the air. I don't know. I sent the video, I sent the live stream into the Bloodline group chat. Aaron usually is here, at least. And then Austin is here, usually. Austin Benninger's usually here, at least it's usually those two, and then whoever else decides to show up, like you or Danny or just anybody else. But I appreciate the fact that you're here. I appreciate the fact that even if it's just one person here, I don't care as long care. I'm just excited that I got at least one person. So thank you, Maroni, for coming. Yeah. It was a great match. Main event was a great match. Although there were two moments, both of which were production team apparently blacking out the screen simply because both Seth Rollins and CM Punk at one point decided that they were just going to stick their middle finger up in the air like a fuck you moment, and which to me makes me say like, okay, so you're going to censor someone sticking their middle finger up in the air, putting their middle finger up in the air, but you're not going to censor Cody Rhodes saying F you, no pun intended, to The Rock. Like, aren't Seth Rollins and CM Punk basically two of your biggest stars in the entire company? Shouldn't they be given the same preferential treatment that Cody Rhodes is being given? Because, I mean, even last year, the road to WrestleMania last year, we got a lot of F-bombs, a lot of foul language said when it came to The Rock and Cody Rhodes and all that storyline jazz. And we got probably one of the most ferocious beatdowns since the Attitude Era, when The Rock decided that he was just gonna beat Cody Rhodes into submission, bloody him, take him outside, run him into a truck, and then decide that after the show was basically done, decided to go be like, oh, just because the show's over, does that mean that the beating stops? Hell no. He decided that he was going to continue beating up Cody even after the show went off the air. Like, yeah. But you're going to censor two guys basically flipping the bird. Yeah, WWE's priorities are out of whack. Because they say they're a PG product. We get F-bombs dropped. They don't even try to censor those. Yet, well, they did on SmackDown, apparently. But hey, that's Solo Sikoa. I mean, I don't think he could get away with that as easily as Cody Rhodes can. But that was the only part of the match that I just didn't like, was just the censoring that was basically pointless. After this video package, we got Dominic Mysterio, we got the Judgment Day backstage. Finn Balor is just not happy. When is he ever happy nowadays? He is just not happy. I mean, you can tell me who or what. If you're still here, Maroni, you can tell me who it was. I don't worry. Oh yeah. I saw. Like I said, I saw the main event match. So I know who returned. The OTC, the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. Yep. He came back at the end of the show. Almost delivered a curb stomp on the steps to Rollins, but that didn't happen. Because the referees and the officials decided, no, that's not going to happen. We weren't able to stop Seth Rollins from curb stomping your head onto the steel steps, but we're definitely going to make sure you don't do the same. Oh, yeah. And one of the best moments from that match, and in the aftermath of it, was seeing Paul Heyman, of all people, in the clutches of CM Punk, comforting him after the match. Like, we all know the history between them. Punk was a Paul Heyman guy after he turned heel on the fans in 2012, in the summer of 2012. He became a CM Punk. He became a Paul Heyman guy alongside alongside Brock Lesnar, of course, at the time. So, but Roman's facial expressions when he saw this was like what the hell? Like, Paul, what are you doing? You're my tribal chief. Like, you're my wise man. Like, what are you doing comforting this man? And so we decided to just go and, yeah, we'll talk about it later. We got the Judgment Day out there, backstage. Finn Balor, again, like I said, he's not happy nowadays. He's not happy. Judgment Day have not been doing anything of note as of late. They've been given tag title shots. They've been put in matches that they've lost. Dominic Mysterio has been losing recently. It's just the Judgment Day do not seem to be the Judgment Day is not what it used to be. What it was with Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio, and then eventually JD McDonough. What it was then, it was great. Now, it's complete ass. Sorry to say that, but that is what it is. Judgment Day is a non-factor on Raw anymore. They don't command the same respect. I mean, yes, Finn Balor says all the right things. He says all the right heel things. Things get the crowd, to want to boo him. But when he keeps getting himself punched in the face basically every single week, whether it's by his own Judgment Day teammates, albeit Dominic Mysterio most of the time, or other Raw superstars, it's like, how do you expect to command respect when you're getting beat up every week? When your entire faction's basically being used as Braun Breaker's punching bag within the last 2 weeks. Dominic Mysterio tried to comfort Finn Balor by saying that he was able to get Finn a shot at Braun Breaker's Intercontinental title on this upcoming Monday Night Raw, which should be an interesting match. Braun Breaker is, I'm guessing, essentially a babyface at this point because he's been battling a lot of heels as of late. Although they could easily switch him to face heel just like that because he's just that uncontrollable badass that just when you get in the ring with him, you better hope and pray that you're just able to survive because he does not slow down. Some point I would like to see a singles match between him and Nathan Frazier. Just the two fastest men in WWE at this point in time. I'd say they are the two fastest in WWE. What Nathan Frazier is doing in NXT is great, alongside Axiom. Then we get a tornado tag match. New Day versus LWO. This is Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio. This match was about 10 minutes long. Not a bad match. It was a very good Texas tornado tag match. Now, there was one point in the match that drew fans' attention. At one point, because it was no disqualification, because it's tornado tag, it's no disqualification. So what happened was there was a guy that came out from the crowd wearing a lucha mask, but the lucha mask was also an American flag design with an American flag design. So this masked man decided to attack LWO, and he hit a number of moves that would have a lot of people immediately thinking that it was Chad Gable, And then also, what maybe sealed the deal for them was the fact that he did the thank you pose with the fingers up, with like the peace sign, like literally. I don't know how, but the New Day were able to win this match. Good for them. I think they deserve at least some semblance of momentum. And what they could be doing is they could be setting up a, I don't know if there's what they're setting up, but if they set up a match between Dragon Lee, I don't know. I mean, someone I heard was saying that they might be building towards Rey Mysterio and the Lucha Brothers versus New Day and Chad Gable. While that would be an interesting match, it seems like on SmackDown they had two teases. One for a mysterious wrestler who many are now thinking could be Rey Fenix, and if he's set for SmackDown, then that would definitely put a damper on any hopes that the Lucha Brothers are going to be reuniting anytime soon. Not to say it's going to happen, not going to happen in the future, but as of right now, if one of those two teases from SmackDown was in fact for Rey Fenix, then it definitely looks like he is going to be on the opposite brand that his brother's on. And so, I mean, we could still see LWO with just Dragon Lee inserted into the match with Penta versus New Day and Chad Gable, or even just LWO and Penta versus Chad Gable and the Creed brothers. I don't know where this story's going, but it's interesting. Now, after the match, Chad Gable was being interviewed by Kathy Kelly, who accused him of being the masked man who attacked the LWO. He denied it. Kathy Kelly was like, we all saw you do the pose. We all saw you do the pose. But then all of a sudden, we see the masked man escorted out by officials, which then makes all of us wonder, oh, whoa. So if it wasn't Chad Gable, then who was it? Or was it Chad Gable and Chad Gable just, I don't know. We don't know what's going on there, but it's interesting. It's going to be an interesting story because we don't know who that masked man was. I mean, logic would dictate it was Chad Gable because, I mean, if anything, just for the fact that he did the American-made, the thank you pose, basically, people would just automatically assume that it's him. But since we saw the masked man get carried out of the building while Chad Gable was being interviewed, that sort of makes us think what's going on here. But it was a good match, and that was a good little backstage segment. Then we get Bayley. We get Bayley versus Raquel Rodriguez. This is for a shot at the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Match lasted around 9 minutes. It was a good match, decent match. And Raquel actually wins the match after interference from Liv Morgan. So this episode of Monday Night Raw, they actually gave the Judgment Day sort of a shot in the arm, at least some semblance of momentum going into next week's show. I mean, the Judgment Day have already gotten a little more momentum coming their way because now that Liv and Raquel are the new tag team champions. So even if the Judgment Day do eventually decide to break up, I still feel like if Liv and Raquel are the tag champs by that point, they'll still be a tag team no matter what. But who knows? Maybe Dominic would join them. But hey, it is what it is. Good match. Raquel wins. Good for her, because I feel like Judgment Day needs some momentum. I'm sort of getting a little tired of just the Judgment Day constantly being used as punching bags week after week after week. I mean, you gotta make Judgment Day strong again, because Judgment Day is just floundering with nothing to do. Then we get AJ Styles calling out Logan Paul. Now it was supposed to be, I think the segment was supposed to go down as AJ Styles was going to come out and call out Logan Paul, but Logan Paul decided, no, that doesn't work for me. AJ Styles doesn't call out Logan Paul. Logan Paul calls out AJ Styles. So he came out first. Then he decided to just rip apart some fans' shirt that said "I hate Logan Paul." Now that was crazy, but in the days following, we found out that fan wasn't actually just a fan. He was an actual wrestler who was a plant by WWE. Obviously, to get heat on Logan Paul, which he doesn't really need to do much to get heat on him, just talk, and he just has to open his mouth and people will just instantly decide to boo him. He gets about the same amount of nuclear heat that Dominic Mysterio and the New Day get most of the time. So he's definitely a heat magnet for sure. This was typical and standard and by the books. They were also in MSG. Now there was a fan at ringside who also just happened to be a comedian, famous comedian. I don't even know who he is. But obviously Logan Paul decided to bring him into the ring. Can't remember his name, but he brought him into the ring. He wasn't exactly hiding his disdain for Logan Paul. So Logan Paul decided, you know what, I'm gonna just make an example out of this fool. But luckily for the guy, AJ Styles came out to drive Logan Paul out of the ring, and that's how that segment ended. We're probably leading towards AJ Styles versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania, which will be a good match, because I've seen Logan Paul's matches, every single one since coming to WWE. He's good. He's very good. Him and Bad Bunny. The two of the most successful celebrity/wrestlers that WWE has produced. Obviously, Bad Bunny is not an official superstar, but when he has wrestled, he has over-delivered in every aspect. WrestleMania 37, his tag team match with Damian Priest against Miz and Morrison. I mean, I still can't believe that I saw Bad Bunny perform a Canadian Destroyer on John Morrison. Miz looked completely shocked, like he couldn't believe it had happened either. Like, that was a WrestleMania moment, seeing Bad Bunny do a Canadian Destroyer on John Morrison. Can't remember if it was John Morrison or The Miz, but it was one of those two. But hey, should be a good match. We got Cody Rhodes promo. We got a Cody Rhodes promo. He came out there to address Cena's heel turn. This was very personal, felt very personal, very aggressive in his tone, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was a very good promo. And at the end of the promo, he decided to steal John Cena's catchphrase. You want some, John Cena? Then come get some. I loved it. And this match should be amazing. We then get we got another video package we got a video package talking about last week's Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky match from the previous week's Raw. Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley main evented the show. Io won the match. Did not expect that to happen, but it happened, and it's probably leading towards a triple threat at Mania between Rhea, Bianca, and Io. Obviously, tonight Io had a interview segment. Eventually, Bianca decided to interrupt because she is the Women's Elimination Chamber winner. Obviously, she had some words for Io Sky, her opponent, going into WrestleMania. Then Rhea Ripley decided that she was going to interrupt and just started talking smack to Bianca. At this point, Io felt like the third wheel, and she just decided, you know what, I'm not gonna take this. I'm just gonna slap both of them silly and then just exit the ring. And that's what happened. She slapped both of them hard and then left the ring. Like, yeah, I am not going to be the third wheel in this, whatever it is you two have going on. Rhea's obviously pissed off that she lost the title to Io Sky. She's not really pissed off at Io Sky for winning the title. She's pissed off at Bianca for seemingly cheering for Io Sky as if she didn't even want to face Rhea at WrestleMania. I don't know, but this is obviously leading towards a triple threat match, which actually should be great, because I don't know, I mean, Rhea versus Bianca is a great match, and it should definitely be a one-on-one match that we should definitely see. We've seen it at least once or twice on NXT, but that was before Bianca and Rhea were the megastars they are now. But adding Io Sky into the mix definitely makes it just a little bit better, in my opinion. Should it main event night one at least? Maybe. They're probably either going to go with Io Sky, Bianca, and Rhea as a triple threat match. If that's the way they're going, they'll either have that match main event, or they'll have this match main event. As we see the main event then happens, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk inside the steel cage. This match was great, like I said, minus the two censoring spots that I didn't like. At one point, it just looked like it was just a finishing. It was like 2K25 or 2K24, and you were just spamming finishes left and right, and they were kicking out of their finishers, left of each other's finishers left and right, which I thought was actually I think made sense given that they just hate each other. They just hate each other, and they were just not going to lose to the other person. At one point, though, Roman Reigns did come back. He pulled Rollins out of the ring, which gave Rollins the win, but he was not done with Seth, not after the Royal Rumble debacle. And this post-match attack on both Seth Rollins and Punk this is definitely leading towards a triple threat match at Mania, and it's going to probably main event night one, at least, because it's just that good of a match that it just probably deserves it, just on the three people in the match alone. The story basically this match doesn't even really need a story, the main event in the show, but the fact that it is such a good story, and the fact that Punk's still mad at Seth Rollins for costing him the money in the Elimination Chamber match, and now the fact that Rollins has now cost Punk a match. Now Roman has now cost Punk a match. Punk's not going to be happy with either one of them. And we're clearly going to be setting up a triple threat at WrestleMania, and that match will probably main event night one. Who knows? But Monday Night Raw was great. It was great. I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now on to Tuesday. NXT Roadblock. Oh, this night was best NXT show I have probably seen since the beginning of NXT on the CW. Now, I have seen episodes of NXT pre-CW, but of all of the CW NXT shows we've gotten so far, the only other one that even came close to this was the NXT live from the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, the ECW Arena. I mean, a Vengeance Day was a great pay-per-view. Probably one of the best NXT pay-per-views in a long time. Even NXT Deadline last year was a very good show. But hey, this was incredible. The opener, I didn't even know what match was going to open the show. I thought we would get maybe Oba, Femi, and Moose in the main event, but then they decided to go with the women's winner takes all match, which I thought must be planning something special, like Julia dropping the title, which I'll get to that in a moment. But we started out the show as Santino Marella jokingly referred to them on a couple weeks ago on NXT. Traxium, the voice is the hard boys. Traxium voice is the hard boys. Not hard boys, hard boys. I'm great, Austin. Thanks for asking. But yeah, this match was great. It was just like I knew it was gonna be. It was gonna be fast and furious when it needed to be. When Fraxium got their momentum going, obviously it was fast and furious. Hardy Boys, they haven't lost a step in the ring. They're like mid-40s, potentially nearing 50, and they are just as good as they always have been. Even in the height of the Hardy Boys era, they were still just as good as they were during the height of the Hardy Boys era. Now, this was for the TNA Tag Team Championships, not the NXT Tag Team Championships. So, obviously, the Hardy Boys retained, as I kind of figured they would, considering that it was the TNA titles that were on the line. But hey, it was good. It was great. And after the match, they were interviewed, and the Hardy Boys were obviously excited about competing in NXT again, obviously in NXT, and they put over Fraxium as being probably one of the best teams they've ever faced, and they made it clear that even though the NXT tag team titles weren't on the line in this match, they might just come back for round 2, this time with the NXT tag titles on the line, which, I'm all for that match, and Fraxium should obviously win that. Should obviously get their win back, because there's no way that a TNA team is going to actually hold the NXT tag team titles. But hey, should be good if they do that again. After this match, we go backstage, and Mickie James is backstage. She is talking with Jada Parker. She's there because all of the WWE LFG, which stands for Legends and Future Greats, all of the coaches are there. We had The Undertaker at one point. Now, obviously, Booker is on commentary, so he's always there. But we got Mickie James, as I just said. She was talking with Jada Parker. Then they got Undertaker there. We did see Bubba in a backstage segment, but we also saw The Undertaker. He had some words for Oba Femi as Oba Femi went out for his match, which I thought was pretty cool. After the Mickie James, Jada Parker little moment, backstage moment, we get a video package for the Trick Williams, Eddie Thorpe storyline. Leading up to last week's show when Eddie Thorpe decided to call out Trick Williams for an NXT Underground match. After the little video package, it went to Trick Williams training for the match. And hey, this match should be good. It should be good. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be a great match for sure. It's gonna be a good match, I know, because Eddie Thorpe, he's actually done very well in the 2 NXT Underground matches that we had with him. The first one was obviously with the Olympian who failed miserably. I can't even remember his name. That's how bad he was. Second NXT Underground match was with Dijak. And so in the 2 NXT Underground matches he's had, he was very good in both. So I'm like, okay, yeah, this match should be good. Then we get Roxanne Perez versus Jordynne Grace. Now, at one point in the match, Roxanne Perez decided to start working on the knee of Jordynne Grace, which obviously, if you can take out a wrestler with the power advantage that Jordynne has, if you can take out her knees, you can take out basically the power game. But Jordynne Grace was able to fight through it. Jordynne Grace match lasted about 10 minutes. It was a very good match. Could have easily been on this roadblock card could have easily been on a pay-per-view. Given about 3 hours or so, given about 2 hours, 30 minutes, 3 hours, and they could have gone. Like, some of these matches could have gone on an extra 2-3 minutes, and I would not have been upset about that. Hardy Boys versus Fraxium, they lasted about 11 minutes. Could have easily gone an extra 3 minutes or so, and I wouldn't have been mad at that. Add an extra 2-3 minutes to some of these matches, and you would have, and put this on a pay-per-view, this would have been one of the best NXT pay-per-views of all time. Because this night was just so good. But Jordynne Grace wins. Like I said, she eventually was able to overcome the constant attacks by Roxanne Perez, and Jordynne Grace won. Good match, very good match. Going after this match, we got Tony D'Angelo and the D'Angelo family. They are backstage. Stacks just feels regret because he feels like he is the guy who cost Tony the title, the NXT North American title. Tony comes in and is like, Stacks, look, it wasn't your fault, okay? Shawn worked on my back the entire match, and eventually my back just gave out, so it wasn't your fault. But Stacks still felt some sort of responsibility, which is why he went to Ava and got a 6-man tag team match made official for next week. Him, Luca, and Rizzo versus Izzy Dane, the Brooks Jensen, and the other guy, and the new guy. I don't even know what his name is. Can't even remember what his name is. Whatever his name is, but it's going to be them. So at the 6-man tag match, it should be an okay, decent match, but we'll see. Then we get Oba Femi. He is going out to the ring for his match against Moose, when all of a sudden we see Undertaker. He comes into focus. He has a few words with Oba Femi. He tells Oba that he has seen what Oba has done since debuting in NXT, and he is very much impressed. He's very impressed with Oba Femi, and then they share a fist bump. which I thought was pretty cool. When you get a legend like Undertaker telling you, an NXT superstar, that he's impressed with you, and when you two share a fist bump, that should just mean that you're destined for greatness. Because it ain't that often that you get an NXT superstar get to have a moment like that with a legend, especially one like the Undertaker, who has seen everything. This match with Obafemi versus Moose was everything I expected it to be. Just a great match of two powerhouses coming together, two powerhouses colliding, both from Nigeria. I knew that Oba was from Nigeria because he's mentioned it in promos, but I didn't already know that Moose. I already knew Moose because I have seen him on TNA, having watched TNA matches on their YouTube channel, and I know Moose, and I've seen Moose. I know Moose, but I didn't know he was Nigerian until that one episode where he came onto the NXT to confront Obafemi. So this was going to be it. So this was interesting. Two Nigerian, basically giants, colliding. But when about 13 minutes, 30 seconds, again, could have lasted 2-3 minutes longer, and nobody would have cared. Everybody would have said, oh, hell yeah, give them a few extra minutes. It's to just beat each other up. And that's what happened. They were just beating each other up. At one point, Moose got the spear, hit, I think, his finishing move, and Oba kicked out. And Moose's face was like, oh no, I hit my best move and he kicked out of it? Yeah, how do I beat this guy when I can't even finish him off with my best move? Yeah, this match was great. It was great. And Oba won. It was for the NXT title, it wasn't for the X Division title, so I knew Oba was winning. Then we get a Shawn Spears video package / promo. He is with his new group, Izzy Dane, Brooks Jensen, and I can't remember. I don't even know who the other guy is. Can't remember his name. But Brooks Jensen has cut his hair now, shaved his hair again. At one point he started to grow his hair out and it was getting long, but I guess he's gotten it cut again, so it's short again. But we now know the name of this group, and it's called the Culling. The Culling. Culling. What a weird name for a group. And yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work, how that's gonna go, because I don't know if that's a good name or a bad name. Time will tell. Then we get Ricky Starks. We got Ricky Starks. I'm not going to say Ricky Saints because that's not his real name. I'm just going to continue with Ricky Starks because I feel like Ricky Saints is not a bad name, but it's just not good. Ricky Starks, he was with Abe. He went into Ava's office. He obviously, well, actually, no, he wasn't in Ava's office. He was, Ava was outside talking, well, not wanting to talk to Fatal Influence. But they were talking with her about getting Fallon her contracted title rematch. They have not stopped bugging Ava about it, and I don't think it's ever going to happen, but they feel like Fallon is obligated to have a rematch because she has not gotten one yet. I mean, they're probably thinking in their minds, how come Kalani Jordan gets to challenge me, gets a rematch for her title when she lost it, but I don't. But I can't seem to get a rematch. Well, eventually Ricky Starks comes into play. Fatal Influence isn't exactly happy that they got interrupted. JC Jane even just goes to say, you don't belong here. Bye bye. And well, they leave. And then Ricky's like, tells Ava, yeah, that's all I've been hearing since I got here. Ridge definitely seems to not want me here, so I was thinking me and him in a match next week. And so Ava decides, okay, if you want it, it's yours. You go on 101 with Ridge Holland next week, and that match should be pretty good. Ricky is great from what I saw in his tag match with Javon Evans. So hey, it should be great. It should be great. Then we get a look at Zarya and Sol Ruka training for, I guess, for Sol Ruka's North American title match on this week's NXT, the coming week of NXT. After this, so we were shown a tweet from Chelsea Green, who was obviously not happy, apparently, about being put in this match. And she is hoping that her Secret Service, I'm guessing that's what it's called, Secret Service or Secret Service, is going to be able to get her out of this match, but it's no use. The match is happening. She might as well just get used to the fact that the match is happening. But she's probably going to win anyways, so why should she be unhappy? Then we get New York City Street Fight. New York City Street Fight. Ethan Page versus Javon Evans. This was another great match. Went about 14 minutes. This was actually, I think this was one of the longest matches on the card. Went about 14 minutes. Was very good. I mean, Ethan Page was like, he was bound and determined to steal Javon Evans' smile one more time, but Javon got the win. And what was interesting about this match is that they were both dressed in predominantly in street-esque clothes. So I liked that they were playing into the fact that this was a street fight, not a normal one-on-one fight. So they weren't necessarily wrestling in normal wrestling gear. I mean, why would you wrestle in normal gear when it's a street fight? You should be wrestling in street clothes when it is a street fight. That's just my opinion. But good for Javon Evans. I had a feeling he was going to probably win the overall feud because Ethan Page got the win at the pay-per-view. So at the Vengeance Day pay-per-view. So I figured if they run this back one more time, it's obvious Javon Evans is going to get the better end of this. And he did. After this match, we got Eddie Thorpe. He's being interviewed by Sarah Schreiber. She mentions the video package that we saw earlier on in the night that saw Trick Williams training for their underground match. Eddie decided to throw some shade at the Knicks. Shade at the New York Knicks. No, it was New York Mets. The New York Mets and the New York Knicks, by the way. So great. Cheap heel heat 101 rag on the hometown's team, or the home city's team. That ought to get you some good heel heat. It's effective, although it's been used so many times. It's like, yeah, let's hate on the home city team, on the home city sports teams, because that'll get you heel heat, especially if you're a heel. But then Trick Williams came out from the crowd and was like, I'm not waiting until next week. I'm coming for you now. So this was great. Then we get the main event. Julia versus Stephanie Becker for the NXT. With both titles on the line, this is winner takes all. Only the second winner takes all match in NXT that I can think of. That being the first one being Keith Lee versus Adam Cole, which Keith Lee won, becoming the first ever double champion in the history of NXT. Braun Breaker was the next one. Actually, no, there were 4 winner takes all matches in NXT history. Obviously at WrestleMania. Obviously at no, actually 5, because Worlds Collide, NXT Worlds Collide in 2022 saw 3 saw the NXT UK titles all be unified with the NXT titles. So yeah, there were 5, at least 3 unification matches on that card, and so yeah, there have been 5. But this was a very good match. Maybe not the best that they could have done, maybe, because since then, I've heard that they may have been a little that they may have been a little reserved in what they were doing. Like maybe they've faced each other before in Japan and they were so much better and the match was so much better there. But this was still a great match. And Stephanie won the match. She is now a double champion. I don't know what that means, whether she's just going to defend both titles as one title, or whether she's going to defend, or whether it's going to be like the Becky Lynch situation in 2019 when she became double champion, when she won that winner takes all match at WrestleMania 35. What she'll probably do is she'll probably just defend both titles separately, just like Becky did. And okay, now going into the match, there was worry that Julia was injured going into this match, and that obviously, if that's true, then I completely understand why they decided to do this, although they could have done it in another way. But still, hey, congrats to Stephanie. This was a great NXT show. Just awesome, amazing. 8 out of 10. It was that good. I'm sorry. It was just that good. Then AEW Dynamite was not a good show. Was an okay show. Most of the stuff that was on the show was not good. We got Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega opening the show. He is the new international champion. He was out there to address the fans. He was out there to talk about this tournament that's going to be happening. That's happening on AEW television right now. 4 matches. The winners of all 4 of those matches get a match, are then going to be inserted into a fatal 4-way match on Dynamite next week, because 2 matches happened on this week's AEW Dynamite. The next 2 matches are going to be on tonight's Collision. The winners of all 4 matches will go into a fatal 4-way match on next week's Dynamite to determine who will face Kenny Omega for the AEW International Championship at AEW Dynasty. Should be whoever wins the match, whoever wins this tournament is losing to Kenny Omega. So, pointless tournament for a pointless winner to get a pointless loss against Kenny Omega. Great. After this, we got a tag team match. We got Will Hobbs and Hologram versus Brian Cage and Dralistico. Talk about a random ass tag team match. That's what AEW does best. Is their random tag team matches that don't have any meaning to them, don't have any story behind them. It's just a random tag team match to get superstars on the card. And if that's what AEW does best, I'd hate to see what AEW does worst. Yeah, book its women's division like jokes, other than maybe Timeless Tony Storm and a few others. Yeah, great match. Went about 8 minutes or so. Here's what it is. Faces won. Let's move on. Then we get a promo from Jon Moxley, who apparently has decided that even though his match with Adam Copeland, that, and I'm just gonna continue calling him Adam Copeland because Cope is such a stupid name. Even though Jon Moxley versus Adam Copeland was a decent match, minus the stupid ending, Jon Moxley has decided that he's going to run it back again next week in a street fight. And Adam Copeland is losing for a second time because Swerve Strickland is the new number one contender, having won his match against Ricochet. So, yeah, you should be building towards Swerve Strickland and Jon Moxley at AEW Dynasty instead of running back a match that wasn't even a great match to begin with. Like, what are they doing? They're not building towards Swerve and Jon Moxley. They're continuing the Jon Moxley Adam Copeland story, which wasn't even that good to begin with. Probably the best part of the story was Jon Moxley laying out all the members of the Death Riders minus Wheeler Yuta, which I don't know why he didn't take him out, because we saw him come out at the pay-per-view to stop Adam Copeland from. But then Jay White came in, but then he accidentally hit Adam Copeland with the briefcase. Like, seriously, end this story and just go to Swerve and Moxley, okay? Then we get the first match of this so-called International Championship Tournament. Beast Mortos versus, now this was a wild card spot, so we didn't know who was going to be in this spot, but then we got a debut in the form of Speedball Mike Bailey. He has officially debuted on AEW television. This match was very good, considering I've seen Speedball Mike Bailey in TNA. He had one of the best matches in TNA of 2023. I think it was in 2023. He had one of the best TNA matches of that year against Will Ospreay. That was a great match. So I know he's a great wrestler. And Beast Mortos, I've seen him in both TNA as Taurus, and as Beast Mortos in AEW. He's pretty decent in the ring as well. The move's sort of like a luchador, but he's also a bit of a heavyweight. This match lasted about 10 minutes. It is what it is. Really good match. Mike Bailey wins. Just based off of the fact that I think Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, and Mike Bailey will put on a great match. I'm already predicting that Mike Bailey is going to be the one to win this tournament, and we're going to get a great match with Kenny Omega at Dynasty. But Mike Bailey's going to lose because he's got Kazuchika Okada at least, let's see, April, May, June, at least July, August, at least 5 months away. Yeah, good luck. Good luck trying to get us to care about anybody that Kenny Omega faces up until All In, because it's pretty much guaranteed that we're getting Okada versus Omega at All In Texas. It is what it is. We get MJF. He's out there. He's not happy about losing to Hangman at Revolution. Another great match at Revolution. All the matches at Revolution were great, minus the main event. And that sucks, because the main event should always be memorable, because that's the last thing that people will see, is the main event. The fact that they had a match that was possibly a 5-star match in Mariah May and Timeless Tony Storm, Hollywood ending, Falls Count Anywhere. The fact that that match didn't end the show still baffles me a little bit. But hey, it's what it is. MJF was not happy. He was obviously saying all the right heel stuff. Then MVP decides to show up. Was very surprised to see him. He told MJF, dude, you've lost your edge. You've lost that spark that makes people fear you, that made people fear you when you were at your peak. And I'm like, yeah, I can see how that could be true. MJF definitely seems to have lost a little bit of his heat, his edge, maybe. I mean, he lost to Hangman at the pay-per-view. Peak MJF probably would never have lost that match. Or at the very least, he would have tried his hardest not to, because he probably would have kicked out of everything Hangman threw his way. Just to prove a point that, hey, you can't beat me. Because I will not let you. But hey, it is what it is. This should be interesting, because MVP handed MJF his Hurt Syndicate business card. So he seems interested in doing business with MJF. I wonder if he's going to join the Hurt Syndicate. Now that Cedric Alexander is a free agent, we almost guaranteed ourselves that it was almost inevitable. It was going to be inevitable. Cedric is going to come into AEW and is going to be in the Hurt Syndicate, and it's going to be a full Hurt Business reunion with all 4 members, obviously with MVP leading the charge. Should be interesting to see if this leads to anything. But hey, that should be an interesting storyline. After this, we go backstage and we get the patriarchy. Christian Cage is not happy. He's not happy. When is he at? When is this man ever happy? We talk about Finn Balor not being happy. When is Christian Cage ever happy? But he's not happy because he makes it known that when he cashed in his contract for an AEW World Title match, he made it specifically clear that he was only cashing it in to face Adam Copeland, to face Cope, that he had no intentions of facing off against Jon Moxley. Well, I don't know what you thought was going to happen there, because Cope wasn't the champion. You can't sign a contract for a world title match against someone who isn't even the champion. Going into the match, it was Jon Moxley who was the champion. So clearly, if you're signing the contract for a world title match, it's against Jon Moxley, the guy who's actually the champion. So I thought that was just a little bit of or maybe that's just Christian Cage being the heel that he is. He wanted to face Adam Copeland 1-on-1, and he just was not expecting Jon Moxley to be there. Well, he's the champion, so that's what it is what it is. And he immediately was like, I demand my contract be brought to me, because I didn't sign up for a triple threat match. I didn't sign that contract for a triple threat match. Then, in an unusual twist, in a interesting twist, we had Nick Wayne, who throughout this whole entire storyline has just been by Christian Cage's side from the very beginning. He was like, dude, you're just making excuses now. Now it just seems like you're just making excuses week after week after week. Like, you can't seem to accept the fact that you lost, that you signed the contract and you lost. Like, stop making excuses for losing now. You gotta stop making excuses for losing. That got Christian Cage mad. Then Nick's mother got in the way, and Christian's like, "Oh, what are you gonna do? Because if it wasn't for me, you'd be schlepping slop at the Denny's." Whatever he said, can't remember what he said actually, but it was something about working a 9 to 5 job at a fast food restaurant. Like, oh, that's Christian Cage. And I like this backstage segment. It's showing that the patriarchy has some cracks in it. Just like the Judgment Day, the patriarchy is now showing cracks because Nick Wayne is starting to show some signs of doubt in Christian Cage, his leadership. Also, I'd be throwing some shade at Christian Cage if all he was ever doing was just running away every time somebody tries to face off with him, leaving me and Kip Sabian to take the brunt of the beatdowns. Christian, yeah, every time someone comes out to face him, he runs away like a scalded dog and just leaves Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian to take the beatdown for him. But hey, we got the Ops versus a team that I didn't even know who the name was, so it didn't make any difference. About 2 minutes, squash match, done. Pointless, but done. Then we get Timeless Toni Storm. She is out there talking about her match. She talked for a little bit about her match against Mariah May at Revolution, and then she decides to say, well, Miss Tramp is still the champ, which obviously got me sort of laughing when I watched the video on YouTube of her promo. I thought that was sort of funny. I love Toni Storm's gimmick. Best women's wrestler of 2024, hands down. Liv Morgan, you were great, but Timeless Toni Storm was amazing. Even when she came back and was like and had amnesia, like she had totally forgotten what she had done over the past 2 years or so after debuting in AEW. It's like, that was great too, because you could tell she was actually putting 110% into it. This was a great promo. Then all of a sudden, Megan Bayne decided, you know what, I'm going to interrupt proceedings and I'm going to call my shot against Timeless Toni Storm. This match should be good, although I don't know Megan Bayne that much. But I do know Timeless Toni Storm, and I love her. She's great. So I'm excited for this match a little bit. See what happens. We then get Max Caster. He's got another open challenge. Oh, I wonder who's gonna accept it this time. And it was the now former AEW International Champion Konosuke Takeshita. Barely lasted a minute. 45 seconds at the latest, at the most. Hit Max Caster with a brutal forearm, which might have knocked him out cold, and probably could have just pinned him there, 1, 2, 3, and could have gotten the win in mere seconds. Even after the match started, Max decided to talk a little bit, so the match lasted at least a minute. But it is what it is. Great, another squash match. Did we need this? No. We got Willow Nightingale versus Penelope Ford, a women's match, decent match, 8 minutes, is what it is. Willow wins, great. Also, we got Hangman backstage, he's being interviewed. All of a sudden, MJF comes into focus, and he's like, if you think that our feud our feud is done following Revolution, it's not. I was supposed to win that match. I should have won that match. You didn't deserve to win that match at Revolution. I did. But somehow you won, so I'm deciding that I'm not going to stop until I get that win back. Okay, so we're getting a second match out of them. Great. This is by far the best story in AEW so far. You'd think the AEW World Championship would be the biggest story, but it isn't. Great. Then we get a Will Ospreay promo. He talked about the match at Revolution, steel cage match at Revolution. It was a great promo. We got some great promos, but that was basically it as far as the important things and as far as the things that I cared about were the promos. But great. We got the main event, Orange Cassidy versus Hechicero. Why is this guy Hechicero in this match? He's not even an AEW superstar. This is supposedly an international tournament, so we have to have people from all different nationalities in this match. Great. So tonight we're gonna be getting Katsuyori Shibata versus Rick Ricochet in one of the tournament matches. So hey, this match, about 11 minutes, decent match, but pointless. Main event. Orange Cassidy won. He will not be winning this Fatal 4-Way match. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. Not very good AEW Dynamite. I'm going to rate it a 5.5 out of 10. I would give it less if it wasn't for the great promos that we got, but that's it. That's all it was. Show today was just great promos, meaningless matches, and AEW is dying. AEW is dying, and Tony Khan does not seem to care at all. Great, Tony Khan. You're just letting AEW die, and you don't seem to care. And don't you dare tell me that NFL trades are the reason for you not spending all your time and effort into AEW. It's a reason, but not the reason. Then we go to SmackDown. SmackDown was a great show tonight. It was a great show last night. I saw most of the matches and segments last night, so I know what happened. Also, from what I heard, it actually also went on the air sooner than 8 o'clock. Obviously, if you got Netflix, you can watch it internationally as it was actually happening live. So it actually happened live at 3. It's just that for those in the US who don't have Netflix or who just don't care to watch Netflix, they were able to watch it on USA Network at its usual time of 8. We got LA Knight opening the show. We got a huge, let me just tell you, international crowds are the best crowds. They bring it. Barcelona brought it. They cheered hard for LA Knight. They cheered hard for their hometown, home country hero, Axiom, apparently. He was on the show. They cheered hard for Jacob Fatu, of all people. They cheered hard for Cody Rhodes, for Tiffany Stratton, and even for the Street Profits. And Randy Orton. So, hey, this was great. This was a great episode. If not just for the crowd for the crowd being just so hot. We got LA Knight. He's coming out there dressed to wrestle. He's thinking about issuing an open challenge for his title. Jimmy Uso decides to come out. He's a little desperate. He says he's a little desperate to get to WrestleMania, and he feels like if he's going to get to WrestleMania, then he's going to have to go through LA Knight. This then leads to Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga to come out. Solo's like, nah. If there's anybody that deserves a U.S. title shot, and I actually thought he was going to say me, Solo Sikoa, but then he decided to swerve and say Jacob Fatu deserves a shot, which actually got the crowd cheering because this led to Solo, Jacob, and Tama just beating up on Jimmy and LA. This then led to Braun Strowman coming out to even the odds. Nick Aldis then came out and said, okay, I see 3 baby faces and 3 heels. Why don't we do a 6-man tag team match? And it starts right now. So we got that match. LA Knight, Jimmy Uso, Braun Strowman versus basically a Bloodline 2.0, even though they are no longer being affiliated with the Bloodline. I'm still going to call them that from now on. From now until they eventually break up, I guess. This match went about 12 minutes. Pretty good match. The faces won. After the match, though, Jacob Fatu decided that he was going to lay out Braun Strowman again. I guess payback for last week when Braun Strowman was able to get the one-up on Jacob Fatu, even though Jacob Fatu was able to get up and get out of there relatively easy. But hey, after this match, though, Jacob Fatu was backstage. He called out Braun Strowman, calling him out for a match next week, which should be a good match. Their match at Saturday Night's Main Event was good, was really good. So I figure, hey, this match is going to be good too. It should be. Then we get a Drew McIntyre. Promo, vignette promo. He is not happy with being excluded from the world title picture this year at WrestleMania. He is not happy with Damian Priest. He does not like Damian Priest. A lot of people have been, when we were told that this match was seemingly in the works for WrestleMania, every single one of us was like, no, this match will not happen at WrestleMania. I refuse to believe that this is the best that they have for Drew McIntyre. Well, I hate to break it to you guys, but this match is now starting to look like a decent idea. There is history between the two of them, which dates even as far back as 2023. 2023, when Drew McIntyre was on the Judgment Day's team for the Survivor Series War Games match, a match that they lost. Drew McIntyre then also had a match against Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at New Year's Revolution. It was Raw Day 1 on New Year's Day, that Raw episode where he had a world title match. Damian Priest decided to attempt to cash in, or at least make it seem like he wanted to cash in. Drew McIntyre was not happy about that. They had a match within the next few weeks. They had a match together, and then in 2024, Drew McIntyre in WrestleMania 40. Drew McIntyre won the world title from Seth Rollins. Damian Priest cashed in on Drew and won. Then at Clash at the Castle, Damian Priest beat Drew McIntyre with CM Punk's help, by the way. Then this year, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest eliminates Drew from the Royal Rumble in a spot that looked completely like it just was not supposed to happen that soon, because there were still, at least at the time, at least 7 other men in the ring. And I'm like, whoa, you're not going to have Drew McIntyre as even just a part of the Final 4? That's crazy. Then they had Damian Priest eliminate Drew at the Elimination Chamber. He was not happy about that, and so he Claymore kicked Damian Priest, basically having Damian Priest eliminated from the match. So there's history with these two. Although we may not like it, it's history. But hey, it is what it is. After this, we also got a Jade Cargill interview. She was being interviewed about the attack, Naomi, and by the books, it was good. Liv Morgan then decides to interrupt. Liv Morgan and Raquel were there. They interrupted. Jade just decides, you know what, if you're just going to go and run your mouth, why don't we just have a match next week? And Morgan said, okay, and then left. Then we get B-Fab. Then we go into the ring and we get B-Fab versus Charlotte Flair. This match was decent. 7 minutes, about 7 minutes is what it is. Charlotte Flair won the match via the figure 8. Tiffany Stratton came in for the save when Charlotte Flair just wouldn't let go of the hold. At that point, I would have just stripped Charlotte Flair of the win and just gave it to B-Fab. They've done that before, where Russell just refuses. It's like wins the match with a submission move, but then just refuses to stop the hold, which then forces the referee to reverse the decision. I don't know why they didn't decide to just do that. But I will give WWE credits, and I will give WWE credit where it's due. This is the first time since we got this match made official that Tiffany Stratton has looked even the least bit credible in this feud. The past 3 weeks have been nothing. I mean nothing but continuous beatdown after beatdown after beatdown of Tiffany Stratton by Charlotte Flair. It's as if WWE is incapable of having Charlotte Flair look weak at any point when she's on TV. Her WWE priority is to make sure that Charlotte Flair looks as strong as possible every single minute that she's on TV. Why? She's not even the best wrestler you have, although you've been promoting her for years as the best in the women's division, when she's not even half as good as maybe someone like Bianca Belair or Tiffany Stratton or Rhea Ripley or Io Sky. Even Liv Morgan, who's still not, great in the ring, she's still on certain occasions when she brings it, she could even be better than Charlotte Flair. Yet they are incapable of having Charlotte Flair look weak at any moment when she's on TV. Last night, she actually looked vulnerable against Tiffany Stratton. Great. Now let's continue this into WrestleMania, where Tiffany Stratton actually beats Charlotte Flair to retain her women's championship. Because if Tiffany Stratton loses to Charlotte Flair, then all the hard work that you did building up Tiffany Stratton as a star, gone. And she is you can basically flush her down the toilet because she will never recover. Because when Charlotte Flair
beats somebody for a women's title, if it's a superstar that's really over, and she basically just buries that superstar, then it's over. I mean, barely recovered. Rhea barely recovered from losing the NXT Women's title to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. Asuka, her undefeated streak was snapped at WrestleMania by Charlotte Flair. Boy, Asuka's never been the same. Asuka's never felt, ever since then, Asuka never felt the same as she did in NXT when she was a bona fide star and was undefeated. Yeah, Charlotte Flair zaps the momentum of other superstars. It's what she does. She's the best in the women's division as far as she's concerned, and she feels like she is the only woman who should ever be holding a women's title. If it were up to her, Io wouldn't even be holding the women's title because she'd be snatching that title up just like that. Sorry, but that's just the way I feel about it. And Tiffany Stratton must win at WrestleMania. It's a must win for Tiffany Stratton. She cannot afford to lose to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. I don't care. I don't care if her last name is Flair. I don't care if her last name is Flair. She does not need to be holding the women's title 24/7. Okay, there are so much more talented women in WWE who deserve opportunities that Charlotte Flair is constantly given. And that's just the way I feel about it. Jeez. We got Miz TV, but even as Miz TV was starting, Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton were still going at it at the entranceway. Tiffany Stratton then goes up on the Titantron and just does a beautiful swanton onto all the referees and officials and Charlotte. And that's how that ended. We get Miz TV, Cody comes out. Cody, we don't even really get a Miz TV segment. Cody just eventually just goes for a crossroads on Miz and just says something sweet that if your name isn't John Cena, I don't care to talk to you. And so he's focused on John Cena at WrestleMania, at Raw, this upcoming Raw. So, hey. We got Damian Priest and Shinsuke Nakamura backstage. Shinsuke Nakamura's backstage. He's asking about a title rematch for his United States title. Damian Priest comes into focus and is like, I mean, you're here, I'm here. I want a match. Let's make this happen. And so it was made official. We then get a tease for a potential superstar debuting. People are saying that it's Rey Fenix. I would not be a bit surprised. If that's the case, then I guess we're not going to be getting a Lucha Brothers tag team reunion anytime soon. But hey, it is what it is. Then we get Damian Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This match lasted about 13 minutes. Good match. Good match. Shinsuke Nakamura, though, Damian Priest won the match, though, via disqualification when Drew McIntyre decided to interrupt the match and attack Damian Priest at the last seconds. This led to Shinsuke then hitting a Kinshasa knee strike on Damian Priest. Then Drew McIntyre decided to continue punching Damian Priest until he hit the Claymore on Damian. This match and this feud actually has potential, and there is a lot of history between the two. That dates back even as far back as late 2023, if you want to go that far. So this should actually be a good match, and it's looking like this could actually be a good feud, even though none of us were happy about it at first. Because we thought, like, I mean, look, Damian Priest is great, but he's not Drew McIntyre. And he's not on Drew McIntyre's level, and he shouldn't. And there's no way that Drew McIntyre should be having a match against someone like Damian Priest at WrestleMania. Like, are we just gonna sit here and just say that Damian Priest is not WrestleMania worthy of a WrestleMania match against Drew McIntyre? As if Drew's too good for Damian Priest. That's basically what the fans were saying. Is that, oh, Drew's too good for Damian Priest. Yeah, he's not too good for Damian Priest. He's going to obviously make this feud work. Apparently. We then get another tease of a superstar, which I think is Aleister Black. And I'm excited actually to have him return to WWE because I actually thought, after seeing him in NXT, seeing what he did in NXT, I thought he was cool. And then when he got to the main roster, I mean, he was good up until a certain point, and then WWE just stopped caring about him, and then he was released, went to AEW, did some good things there, but ultimately never felt any more special than he did in WWE. And good to see him back. Hopefully this time around he'll actually get the push he deserves, because the guy who's in charge now is the same guy who was in charge of NXT when Aleister Black was at his peak. So that should be good. Should be good. Then we get Gunther made a surprise appearance. He talked about his WrestleMania opponent, Jey Uso, but then decided to call out the guy who he has heard is the best wrestler in Spain, a young gun, one of the young guns. He has heard all this talk about A-Kid, which I thought was interesting because he had just decided to use Axiom's NXT UK name, which was interesting because I thought, oh, Gunther's calling Axiom out by his real name, by his NXT UK name. Well, that's interesting. Hey, thanks, Danny. I guess better late than never, I guess. But hey, Axiom and Gunther, he called out Axiom for a match. This match happened, and it was very good. 13 minutes, about 13 minutes. Very good match. Hey, Danny, if you want to, just earlier, I went on a huge rant about Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. If you want to rewatch the live stream after that. But yeah. But this was a great match. Axiom, and I can't wait for tonight, Danny. Can't wait. Axiom versus Gunther, this match was really good. This definitely gave me NXT UK vibes because I've officially seen them wrestle now twice in NXT UK. So I thought, ooh, this is going to be a good match. I've seen it before, but obviously not a whole lot of people watched NXT UK. But it is what it is. The match was great. Gunther won, but Jey wasn't there apparently, so I guess we missed out on an opportunity to see Jey get some payback on Gunther, but it'll probably happen on Monday. After this, we got Paul Heyman was in the ring. He hyped up Roman Reigns' return. We want TD. Don't know what that is. Oh, TD. Okay. Danny, I'm just going to say this once. I don't know how you got the idea in your head that I sort of, like TD. I don't know how you got that in your head. Oh, God. You like to joke around with me, and I appreciate it, and I only put up with it because I know you're just joking around. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Paul Heyman told the crowd in Barcelona that Roman Reigns would be returning next week. SmackDown in Italy. Bologna, Italy. Bologna. Almost sounds like Bologna, Italy. Bologna, Italy. The Barcelona crowd wasn't exactly happy because I'm guessing they wanted to see Roman Reigns tonight. I only put up with it because I know you're joking. But hey, but apparently CM Punk, as of now, has went on Instagram and decided to post a video of himself calling out Roman Reigns and saying, "Hey, Roman Reigns doesn't look like he's going to be coming on to my show anytime soon, so I'll just pop on over to SmackDown next week and I'll just hash out whatever I need to hash out with him there." People also noticed in that Instagram video that Punk had decided to shave his beard. Decided to shave his beard, which was interesting. Interesting to see Punk have a clean shaven face. But that should be a good face to face. Whether or not Seth Rollins gets involved will be up guess up to Seth. Then we get Randy Orton versus Carmelo Hayes. This match was a really decent match. Went about 14 minutes, which is a lot of the matches tonight went over the 10-minute mark, minus the B-Fab versus Ric Flair match. Then we get this was a really good match because a bunch of times you could tell that Randy Orton was trying to go for the RKO, but Carmelo Hayes was just constantly like, no, 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 no. You ain't hitting that, you ain't hitting no RKO on me. And by the end of the match, he hit the RKO. It was what it was. One of those RKOs out of nowhere spots that Randy Orton is just so good at doing. And he got the win. He eventually, after the match, he tried to shake Carmelo's hand. Carmelo was like, dude, I just lost to you. Why the hell would I shake your hand? Being a heel. And so Randy Orton decided, RKO again, and then attempted to go for the punt. But in a rare twist, Kevin Owens actually decided to get Carmelo Hayes out of the ring. This led to Randy Orton and Kevin Owens sort of brawling for a minute or two before Kevin Owens just scurried away like a scared mouse. Like a scared mouse running from the hungry cat. Yeah, right. Well, that was it. Then we got the main event: Street Profits versus DIY for the WWE Tag Team titles. This match was really good, and surprisingly, I don't know if this is going to also lead to a multi-man tag team match, because I know as of right now, the Pretty Deadly won the number one contenders match last week, so they are the number one contenders. DIY are not going to be happy the fact that they lost the tag team titles. Street Profits, for the first time in 4 years, I can't believe it.
About 15
Okay.
minutes.
I cannot believe that it's taken them 4 years to get tag team gold again. But it happened. Good for them. I'm glad that they were able to get back their tag team titles eventually. To be honest, it was the SmackDown tag titles that they lost in a match that involved Alpha Academy and the Dirty Dogs of Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. So 4 years ago. So hey, wow. Great for them, and we're probably setting up a multi-man match at WrestleMania. Multi-man tag match at WrestleMania, which I'm not mad at. Just as long as it's not another ladder match, because we got one last year. And that was great, but I just feel like we don't need another one so close to WrestleMania, so close to the previous WrestleMania. But that was it. SmackDown was great. I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Not 8 out of 10, because NXT Roadblock, Danny, if you didn't watch it, I'd watch it, because it was amazing. I mean, we got the Hardy Boys versus Fraxium, two of the best tag teams right now in it. Right now. Put DIY in that mix as one of the best tag teams, maybe even the Street Profits. And even the War Raiders on Raw are doing great things, and the Creed Brothers. So we got like maybe 1, 2, 3, at least 6 tag teams right now that could be considered 6 of the greatest tag teams in all of wrestling right now. WWE and TNA. So hey, it is what it is. But that's it. That's it for me. I will be going live next week. Hopefully, barring any disasters like sickness or anything. But I will see you guys later. And until next time, peace. And Danny, I will see you. If you're still here, I will see you later tonight. Bye, guys.